Hello, my name is Andrew Patterson and I'm the head teacher of SIS Kelapa Gading. This is our Distance Learning for Parents series. Today's topic is about the teaching of new topics or skills during distance education. Now, when it comes to introducing new topics or skills, there's one thing that sometimes parents are not aware of. Some teachers will start a new topic with a prior learning check. This means that the teacher is trying to find out what the students already know about this topic before they teach it, because there is no point in reteaching something the students already know. And so this is not in any way a test, there are no marks recorded, and so it's very different to an assessment, which always takes place after a topic has been taught, and usually well after there's been several activities to help reinforce that learning. So don't stress out if the teacher gives a prior learning check, and it's okay if the students get all the answers wrong, because we don't expect the students to know this information yet. We're just checking to make sure we know what is the range of knowledge that already exists in the class. Now, when it comes to introducing the content, whether it's new knowledge or whether it's a new skill that must be demonstrated, we expect our teachers to be engaging and effective in the way they communicate. It should not be just simply asking the student to read a certain part of the textbook. And so we use a variety of methods to do that. So we might use pre-recorded video or sound a lot for this. This is because video is easier for the students to watch and it's more engaging for them to watch than reading a lot of text. And it's also something that students can replay over and over again if they don't get it the first time. But of course, we add to that written information as well. So it would be quite normal to have an introductory video, the teacher explains something, maybe a link to other videos that produce animations or some kind of video context for the new topic as a way of engaging the students, getting them to want to learn and understand more. And then also some written information from the textbook, from other sources to supplement that new topic. So after the teacher has first introduced this new information, this new skill, there will be a series of activities that relate to that new topic. And what's happening here is that the teachers are trying to help the students to solidify their learning. Actually, it's very rare that the very first time that a student hears something new, they will fully understand it right away. It's unrealistic to expect a whole range of different kinds of students with different kinds of attention spans, different kinds of learning preferences to always get it the first time. And so after it's been introduced, the activities that follow that will provide ongoing ways for the students to keep on learning. And that's learning by doing. And so maybe the student is still confused, doesn't quite understand what to do, is still not very confident, but by trying, by giving it a go, by trying to engage in the activities, they'll be learning by doing it. And this is very, very important. So students should not be discouraged if they find it difficult at first. Trying is part of learning. Now, as well as this period of learning by doing, teachers are also using these activities to check for understanding, to make sure that the whole class in general, but also each individual student has actually understood what's being taught. And the teacher uses this as a way to adjust their teaching. So they know if most students are not getting it, they reteach it in a different kind of way. If there are certain students that aren't getting it, they can talk to them personally, give them extra help or support in some kind of way. If students have got it very fast, they can move faster, give additional advanced work, that kind of thing. So these activities are very important. So it's not just about the fancy video that the teacher gives up front that explains the content. It's not just about the textbook explanation. It's also very much about these activities that require thinking, that require effort, that demonstrate learning by doing, and also allows the teacher to check for understanding. Now, a very common thing takes place, I think, in distance learning, and several parents have raised this with me just in the last few weeks. The parent sees their child at the computer, and maybe the child's taking a long time to do something, or the child is saying, I'm confused, I'm not quite sure what to do, I don't understand this. And the parent asks the child, did your teacher explain this? And you know what I find when I investigate these kinds of requests from parents is that 9 times out of 10, the student will reply no. No, the teacher never taught this, they didn't explain it, I've got no idea what I'm doing. Now, there are a few different reasons why a child may answer in that kind of way. The first one basically is to save face. What you're really doing when you ask your child, why are you finding this hard? Why are you taking so long? Why can't you do it? Is you're kind of challenging your child's competence or their knowledge. And they will of course want to react in a positive way that makes you think well of them. And they might just say, oh no, it's because I wasn't taught this. That's very natural and understandable, and it does happen a lot. When I investigate these kinds of parent feedbacks, I often find out that actually the material was taught, maybe in a variety of ways, but the student's struggling for a variety of reasons. Now, sometimes that can be because the teacher, the way the teacher has taught something might make the new topic or the new skill clear to some students, but not clear to others. Every student is different. Students learn in different kinds of ways, at different kinds of rates. Some students pick it up right away. Others might take several times to repeat the content before they really understand it. And that's fine and that's normal. And so it's okay if the child doesn't understand the very first time they hear it. And so it may be the case that your child is struggling with something because they were one of the ones that didn't get it the first time, even after watching the video a few times through. They might need that period of time of learning by doing and teacher feedback to really get it. Finally, it could be ineffective teaching. And maybe for whatever reason, the teacher wasn't able to deliver the content very well, very effectively, and most of the class didn't really understand. And the teacher will find out about that during the assessment and will then reteach in some kind of way to make it more effective. So any of those or a combination of those might be a reason why your child says to you, I wasn't taught this material. So there are a couple of things I want parents to know as we move into this distance learning period for a longer period of time. Firstly, activities that teachers set should be challenging. If a teacher only sets activities that everyone in the class can do easily, there's really not much value or point in that. The students can already do this activity. The activities need to be challenging because we are trying to teach the students through those activities. As the student grapples with it, tries to remember something, tries to understand something, tries to apply the knowledge in a different kind of way, those are ways in which the student is learning. And so these must sometimes be challenging. So again, don't pressure your child to always need to understand and be able to do it right away. It does take some time. The second thing I want parents to know is that teachers are looking for a particular signal when it comes to assessing student work. So when all those assignments come in, all the activities come in, and teachers are looking through those and ticking or crossing and marking and making comments, they're looking for information. They're trying to find out, did most of my students understand this? Did some not understand? Are there certain students that got everything and some who didn't get anything? Do I need to reteach this? Do I need to work with certain students more? This is a normal part of teaching and learning. And so if you as the parent or if the tutor that you employ bypasses this approach and stops the child submitting answers that are wrong or saying, I don't know, it means the teacher never knows. The teacher never finds out this important information about what students do and don't know. And you take over the teacher's role as a teacher. And you don't need to do that. Neither you nor the tutor needs to do that. Teachers are very willing to reteach things, to re-explain things, either to the whole class or to an individual, but they find out about what they need to do based on the assessment of all those activities and tasks that students do. So please don't do them for your children. Don't let someone else do them for your children. Let your children write, I don't know, if they don't get it. And that way the teacher will be able to then work with them to improve their knowledge over time. The third thing that I really want parents to understand is that the skill, what I call a soft skill, that's very important for teaching and learning, is for students to be able to ask for help. You know, sometimes even high-performing students struggle to ask for help because they're embarrassed in front of their peers that they don't know everything. But none of us know everything. All of us start from a place of not knowing something, and then we learn something. And none of us pick up everything the first time. And so it's very important for your child's future that they start to learn this skill and become confident in asking questions. They should ask their teacher, look, I don't understand this. Can you explain it again? I'm not quite sure what to do. Can you repeat for me? Is this right? Is this wrong? Asking these kinds of questions is so important, and this will make the biggest difference for your child's learning, a much bigger difference than having a tutor or doing all these extra classes. Asking questions is key. So please don't do things for your children. Please let them ask or encourage them to ask if they're not quite sure. Now, I'm just going to finish off now with, I guess, 2 examples of things that you might encounter and how I suggest that you respond to those things during distance learning. The first thing is you see that your child doesn't understand something or is taking a very long time to do something. So first of all, make sure they really are putting some effort into this. We don't want to encourage students to always ask the very first time they feel uncomfortable or not sure about something. Because like I mentioned before, trying and effort is part of the process of learning. And so encourage your children to try, to make sure they reread the textbook, watch the video again, or if they still cannot do it, ask the teacher for help. That's what the teacher is there for. And so students should always feel free to ask teachers for help. Now, sometimes if the child is taking too long, it might be because the topic is very hard, or it could also be that the child has chosen to do a lot more than is required. You know, sometimes students like to focus on, I guess, the fun side of an activity as a way of avoiding the hard side. They spend hours and hours trying to find a fancy video or to decorate their assignment or their PowerPoint presentation and to make it really lovely with sound and all kinds of graphics, when those things are actually not required and are actually kind of time wasters. Some students do that as a way of avoiding the real learning that must take place. So just be aware of that. Sometimes students are perfectionists and want to do everything perfectly. That can be a real time waster as well. So those 2 things are possibilities. And so I don't encourage you to take over the teaching. Just ask your child to check with your teacher. Either they don't understand and they ask about the content, or they could ask the teacher, is this what you require? Do I need to do this much, or is this enough? Those kinds of questions between the child and the teacher are ways the student can learn to manage their time and effort and how long it takes to do something. The second scenario is that sometimes the child may seem to finish too fast. Now, again, there could be a variety of reasons for this. They could be brilliant at this particular topic, which is fine, which is great. And there should be extension work for them to go on with if they finish something very fast. However, sometimes in their desire to finish quickly and get back to social media or a TV program or a video they want to watch or playing with their siblings, in their desire to finish quickly, they kind of do things in a very fast and maybe not very effective way. Maybe they don't read all the instructions from the teacher very carefully. They skip over certain parts, or maybe the effort isn't really there, the kind of effort the teacher is looking for. And so if your child does do things very fast, just be aware of that, and maybe ask your child to ask the teacher, is this good enough? Is this what you want? Or should I be doing more? And so just be aware of those two different dynamics that might take place when it comes to students working from home and you being aware of how much is enough, or what is the child expected to do by the teacher, as opposed to the child doing what they want to do with their time. So I hope this brief video has helped you just understand how here at SIS Kelapa Gading we introduce and teach new topics during distance education as a way of helping your child stay in touch with the curriculum while they're working from home. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a good day.